Three unsolved mysteries that still have no answers. In 2006, Brian Schaefer was a 27-year-old medical student living in Ohio. By all accounts, his life was stable. He was close with his family, doing well in school, and he had plans for the future. On March 31st, he went out with a friend to celebrate the start of spring break. They began the night at a restaurant where they spent time eating, talking, and drinking. Nothing about the evening stood out as unusual. Later, they decided to continue the night at a nearby bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The bar was located inside a shopping complex with a main entrance that was monitored by security cameras. At around 1:55 a.m., Brian was seen on camera entering the bar with his friend. Inside, the atmosphere was typical for a crowded college bar. Music, conversations, and people moving around. At some point, Brian became separated from his friend. That alone wasn't concerning. It's common in a busy environment. What is unusual is that after that moment, there was no confirmed footage of him leaving. Investigators later reviewed all available surveillance footage from the building. They tracked people entering and exiting the bar throughout the night. Brian is clearly seen going in, but there's no clear footage of him coming back out. There are a few possible alternate exits, including service areas, but none of them provided a confirmed explanation. After the bar closed, Brian's friend waited for him outside, expecting him to come out. He never did. Calls to Brian's phone went unanswered. By the next day, it was clear something was wrong. In the days following his disappearance, his phone rang once during a call from his family member before going silent again. It was the only indication that the phone was still active at any point after that night. Search efforts were conducted in and around the bar, including nearby construction areas and surrounding buildings. Nothing was found. No personal items, no trace of where he went. Some theories suggest he may have intentionally left without being seen. Others believe he may have used a staff-only exit that wasn't properly monitored. There are also theories that something happened inside the building that was never captured on camera. But without evidence, none of these explanations can be confirmed. What makes this case particularly unusual is how limited the setting is. A single building, a specific window of time, and a person who is documented entering, not leaving. Despite the amount of attention the case has received, it remains unresolved. In April of 2014, Chris Kremers and Lassane Froon traveled to Panama. They were staying in the town of Bouquet, a location known for its hiking trails and surrounding rainforest. On April 1st, they set out on a hike along a well-known trail called the Yansta Trail. During the early part of the hike, they took several photographs. The images show them on the trail, smiling with no visible signs of distress. Based on the timestamps, everything appeared normal up to a certain point in the afternoon. After that, there are no more daytime photos. At some point later that day, they did not return. When they were reported missing, search efforts began quickly. The area was heavily forested with difficult terrain and unpredictable weather. Despite extensive searches, no immediate trace of them was found. Days passed without results, then weeks. Nearly 10 weeks later, a backpack was discovered near a riverbank by a local resident. The condition of the backpack raised questions. It was not heavily damaged, and many of the items inside were intact. Inside were both of their phones, a camera, and other personal belongings. When investigators examined the phones, they found a detailed record of activity following the day they disappeared. There had been multiple attempts to call emergency services in the days after April 1st. However, most of these calls did not connect. The phones were turned on and off repeatedly after several days, suggesting an effort to conserve battery power. At one point, incorrect PIN codes were entered into one of the phones multiple times. This raised questions about who was attempting to access it. The camera also contained a series of photographs taken after their disappearance. The final images were taken at night, in near total darkness. They show parts of the surrounding environment, trees, rocks, and unclear shapes. There is no clear subject in most of the photos. The pattern and timing of the images suggests that they were taken over a relatively short period of time. The reason for these photos remain unknown. Some suggest they may have been attempts to use the flash as a signal. Others believe they could indicate confusion or distress. In the months following the discovery of the backpack, partial remains belonging to the two women were found in the surrounding area. However, the evidence did not clearly indicate what had occurred. Theories range from becoming lost to the possibility of outside involvement, but the available evidence does not conclusively support any single explanation. The case remains unresolved with a timeline that shows activity but no clear answer as to what caused it. This is a more popular case where a woman named Elisa Lam was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles in 2013. During her stay, she began documenting parts of her trip, including posts online and communication with family. At some point, she stopped making contact. Shortly after, she was reported missing. The case gained widespread attention after surveillance footage from one of the hotel's elevators was released. In the video, Elisa is seen entering the elevator and pressing multiple buttons. She steps in and out of the elevator several times, at points appearing to react to something outside of the frame. No other person is visible in the footage. The elevator doors remain open longer than expected, and the sequence of her action does not follow a clear pattern. After the footage, there is no confirmed sightings of her. In the weeks that followed, guests at the hotel began reporting issues with the water supply. Maintenance staff eventually inspected the rooftop water tanks. That is where Elisa was found. The location raised several questions. Access to the roof was restricted, and the tanks themselves were not easily accessible. Investigators examined how she could have reached that area. They reviewed security, access points, and employee procedures. Despite this, no single explanation fully accounted for the circumstances. The elevator footage became a central focus of that case, as it was the last known recordings of her. The footage led to a wide range of theories. Some focused on her behavior, others questioned whether someone else may have been involved. Despite the amount of attention and analysis, the case remains widely discussed due to a lack of clear, universally accepted explanation. The available evidence provides pieces of the timeline, but not a complete understanding of what happened. Those were 3 cold cases that to this day have not been solved yet. Each of these cases has been investigated extensively, each has evidence, timelines, and known details, but none of them provide a complete answer. And that is what continues to make them unsettling. Not just the events themselves, but the fact that even now, they remain unexplained. That was 3 unsolved mysteries that still have no answers. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more.